Chapter 10, The Park. By 5:15, Eric and Roy were in the park on the grass, beside the pond, licking ice lollies. Eric's lolly was laid out on its wrapper so he could reach it. It was his favourite flavour, lemon and lime. Roy, without too much either or this time, had bought the lollies from the ice cream van at the park gates. Eric licked the cool, delicious lolly with his rough tongue. It tended to slide around, and he was obliged to steady it with his paw. Roy lay on his side, crunching his lolly and watching Eric. This is good, he thought, despite trailing Eric most of the way. He was somehow under the impression that coming to the park was his idea. And there is a picture of Eric eating his ice block. Suddenly, Eric's lolly skidded from its wrapper. He nosed it back, but by then there were bits of grass stuck to it. Eric considered the problem and looked pointedly at Roy, and then at the lolly. He repeated this a couple of times until Roy got the message and removed the grass. "Dogs eat grass, you know," said Roy. When he had finished his lolly, Roy put his jockey cap on Eric to see how it looked. Eric shook it off. Roy got to his feet and began swinging from the branch of a nearby tree. He gazed about. The park was fairly empty. However, on the opposite side of the pond, 2 girls and their dog were playing with a ball. The dog was leaping around and racing back and forth between them. Roy glanced down at his dog and for the first time felt a twinge of discontent. Eric was still sitting there, licking away and looking thoughtful. It was bad enough that he had always made his lolly last longer when he was a boy, but to do it as a dog? Meanwhile, Eric, being Eric, was beginning to make plans. The thoughts in his mind were, how long will it last this time? When will I change back? And, most worryingly of course, where? If they stayed in the park, he could always hide in the bushes and get dressed there. But what about Roy? And Roy's tea? And Roy's mum? Roy, however, wasn't thinking about his tea or his mum. "Come on, Eric, dogs are supposed to woof things up." Whereupon Eric did eat up, but in his own time. He proceeded to wipe one slightly sticky paw on the grass. He remained thoughtful. Roy's exasperation grew. "Tear about a bit," he said. "It's a park, you know." He tossed his jockey cap in the air and caught it on his head. "Here, jump this bench." Roy gestured towards the park bench and, in case Eric hadn't the idea, jumped it himself. "See? Easy." Eric trotted up to the bench, climbed onto it and sat down. He meant it as a joke, but Roy took it badly. He pushed his hands in his pockets and kicked moodily at a plastic cup which lay on the ground near a litter bin. Then, after a while, he began to dribble the cup around the bench and he said, "Come on, tackle me." This time Eric didn't wait, but took up the challenge. He leapt from bench, chased after Roy and made a grab for the cup. Roy eluded him. Eric grabbed again. Again Roy slipped past. Eric held off, jockeying for position, waiting his chance. Roy now proceeded to hurl himself around in a series of desperate saves. He grazed an elbow and a knee, but hardly noticed. Eventually, with Eric nowhere near him at the time, Roy gave a leap of pure animal spirits. Sometimes, even under normal circumstances, the difference between boys and dogs is not great. Roy tumbled over and over on the grass. He hadn't had fun like this for days. Neither had Eric. In fact, for the moment, the 2 friends had quite forgotten the situation they were in. They were just a fairly wild boy and a rather civilized dog, fooling around. Then suddenly, with Eric off his guard, Roy lunged forward and swept up ball and player in a rugby tackle. "Foul!" yelled Eric, or rather, as it turned out, "Woof!" Then Roy did a lap of honour. "This is a cup match, Eric," with the cup itself held high. Then something else happened. A child's pedal car came into sight from the direction of the park's gates. It was bright red with a Mickey Mouse face on the front. A small, irate boy was running after it, and the driver was Hopper. We'll stop there.